Hey everybody, Hostrone here. It's another Friday, so it's another first edition Friday. Got a interesting one here for you. So recently, as in a few months ago, a set was dropped, and in it contained a rather interesting couple of cards, and that is Maternal Instinct. It came out of Dramatis Personae, came out 7 months ago, it looks like. It is the set that came out right before All Good Things Were Mastered. Of course, that set dropped in December, so there was a 6 month lull there, but Dramatis Personae was the set that came out. Of course, All Good Things Were Mastered. Um, that just came out very recently. But so we had a 6 month lull, but we had Dramatis Personae for about 6 months. It's not a large set. It only has 18 cards in it, but it has some rather interesting ones. And a pair of cards that came out is Maternal Instinct. And Maternal Instinct plays on table. Your cards are all compatible with each other. Your youth, personnel, or attributes all +1. Nullified if you own and control a personnel without printed youth and without youth or non-youth in game text. So the people that you can have in play are anybody that says youth or non-youth in game text or has printed youth. Okay? So how that works is you get the new Jonathan Archer, who's Starfleet, and the new Xindi affiliation that's going to come out here sometime. I hope not anytime soon, because I'm not really excited about it personally. But he has the word youth in his game text, and he may download Maternal Instinct once. So as long as they've got either youth as a skill or they've got youth/non-youth in their game text, meaning that they have it here somewhere in their skill dot box, they're going to be able to prevent, well, they're not going to make your Maternal Instinct go away. And your cards are all compatible with each other, so it doesn't matter what you're playing, what you're doing, as long as the people you put in play have youth as a skill or youth/non-youth in their game text. You're going to be perfectly fine. So we have essentially a deck that's full of youth personnel, and then you add in a couple of interesting ones. And so Jonathan Archer is one of them. And as a card draw engine, we also have... Why is she not showing up here? Oh, that's because I put her in the queue stand. Mrs. O'Brien may draw a card for each youth personnel that enters play here once per game per affiliation. And so we want to get her in play, because then as you play all these different affiliation youths, then you get to draw cards for her. So she becomes a card draw engine. What do you do with all those card draws? You play them hopefully for free to your time location of Smuggler's Rendezvous, because your youth personnel may report here if he's at anywhere at Smuggler's Rendezvous. He allows any youth personnel there to report with him. You combine that with the ever classic and popular Protect the Timeline. If it happens to be a unique youth personnel, you can play them for free with Protect the Timeline. And then we have we have a bunch of youth personnel in the deck that are also 22nd Century, so they can report for free with Smuggler's Rendezvous's own text. We have temporal shifting to draw some cards as well. How do we get Mrs. O'Brien so reliably say she's in the Q's 10 and there's no Q's 10s in your deck? Well, we seed a group therapy. In place of a card draw, you may download a Federation civilian to hand. So, you know, that's how we get her into play so quickly. We seed the group therapy on, it has to seed on a headquarters, outpost, or site. We seed Explore Black Cluster 2 with Klingon Outpost. So we have a built-in reporting mechanism, we have a built-in place to seed our group therapy. It is definitely a mission that we can attempt, so the opponent can't just let it go. Some interesting tricks with the deck. Temporal Micro Wormhole is how we get Mrs. O'Brien to the same, to Smuggler's Rendezvous. We seeded Dekur at Smuggler's Rendezvous with its text, so then that's the place then that we can put her. We're okay waiting until turn 2 to play her, and once we do a little fishbowl, you'll see why. We are seeding both a Temporal Micro Wormhole and we're seeding a Space-Time Portal. As it turns out, with the deck, on occasion you will play an AU personnel off the on the space line, so you do need a random pairing of Temporal Conduit and Space-Time Portal in order to in order to be able to play your AU personnel, because we're getting rid of the Temporal Micro Wormhole. We download another Space-Time Portal out of the Q's tent, and we are doing the Space-Time Portal drop with the deck, and you'll see that how that works. Once per game, report with up to 4 AU personnel on an AU ship to any location, doesn't matter where we put them, but generally speaking, we just STP drop it right on top of wherever Mrs. O'Brien happens to be. There's a few little fun tricks in the deck, and that's the fact that in addition to being able to get Mrs. O'Brien, we can use Group 30 to grab LOL in order to grab any 2 skills. There are the civilian fed non-aligned Borg that we can go grab out of the Delta Quadrant. What makes that really nice is that you can shove any of them to the bottom of the deck to do temporal relocation with Temporal Conduit, and then with a future card draw, just go get it again. So they are the perfect choice cards for doing that, because even though they send it to the bottom of the deck, you can just go get it again when you want it, so without having to lose anything else. We are running a Battle Bridge Door to go get the new auxiliary control. We're actually grabbing, of all things, we're grabbing the emergency evacuation. The reason being that we want to be able to just punch through a space mission fast and early with all these random youths who may not have the ability to beat a Cloud or a V'ger, etc. And so the escape pod download saves your bacon. You do have plenty of ships, and so having another ship there, aka the Valiant, which has been seeded, will allow you to then pick those people up immediately. There's not much else I can really explain about the deck until you see it in action. I will side note, I just attached 18 dilemmas here. There is no dilemma strategy with the deck. It's whatever you want to do. I just attached it from somewhere else. I just had other 18 dilemmas in an existing deck, so I just threw them in. So, but you can do whatever you want. You have all dilemmas at your disposal since you're seeding an AU enabler. And we'll go ahead and take a look at doing a fishbowl of the deck. I picked 6 missions randomly that would be cohesive for an opponent. We did a seeding phase. This is how it came out. We won the toss. We had Warp Space first, and the opponent had Clash at Shintaka. We actually got Observe Ritual that we put here. They got Exposed Covert Supply here, their homeworld. So we stuck Explore Black Cluster here, and then if they wanted to go back, we were okay. They went here, and then we just kind of went down the line because they end up having 2 neutral zone missions. we would guess based on this, it's kind of a TNG Tong drop kind of a deck that you'd be playing against with a mission set like this. This is entirely reasonable. But it's not really important for the purposes of our fishbowl. I'm just here to show you how the deck functions. Okay, let's know. Just know. That's a wacky shelf life I've ever seen it. Still terrible, but whatever. Okay. So we don't free play anything with this opening hand, and this is actually somewhat normal. We will just simply card play a temporal shifting and get that out and draw 4. We still don't have anybody that we could free play at this time because none of them report to there. That's fine. We're building up. So then what we do is we'll just discard, we'll go grab our boy. He's 22nd century, so he can download directly to there. He will grab Maternal Instinct, and then we'll also grab Space-Time Portal with the Temporal Micro Wormhole. And then at the end of turn, we would just download Mrs. O'Brien into our hand. And then we would pass the turn. We only got one personnel in play on the opening turn. That's okay. That is just simply how this deck operates. You're lucky if you get someone to play for free on the opening turn at all. And even if you do, it may cost you a card draw later on anyway. So it doesn't really matter. We go to our turn 2, and what we're able to do then is we free play Mrs. O'Brien through the Temporal Micro Wormhole directly to the ship. She's reporting to the time location, somewhere at the time location, so Protect the Timeline does work, so we can report her for free, and then we don't have anybody else, so we can just card play someone else. So we would card play a non-AU personnel with youth. And we'll just go ahead and do Sela. And then that draws us a card because that's our first Romulan youth reporting for free. But then we drew into Eurus. He actually is 22nd century, so he can play for free. He's the first Romulan youth. So he draws us a card. What we can do if we want to, and I don't really suggest it because we only have one AU personnel in hand right now, is we could STP back the Decur and then STP drop it, but there's no reason to do so. So what we'll do though is we will, since we drew it, we're going to launch Portal off the Decur. We're going to launch Portal the Mekong. The Mekong will get us rescue, will not get us rescue personnel. What we'll do is we will dock the Mekong, and then we're going to have Jonathan Archer and these guys just, be on, I guess, the Tellarite trading post. Then we download the rescue personnel onto the Mekong. It will undock. It will beam those 4 personnel to itself. Then they, with Mrs. O'Brien help, will then redock the ship. That'll score us 5 points, and we'll draw 4 cards. We still don't have many AU cards. Alright. Then we would go to end of turn 2, and we would just draw another card, and there's just another copy of Sela. We have 2 of her in the deck because of her download of Romulan Reunification. We use that in order to basically 2-mission win, which is the other thing I wanted to mention with this deck. We are trying to 2-mission win here. So we go to turn 3. We need to find AU personnel. So we'll just do that. There's another one. Alright, free play youth. We haven't done a Fed yet of any kind, so we'll just do Rebbe and Azan for free. Draw a card. Yeah. And then yeah, we'll just do it. We'll just discard, and then we'll STP drop the Dakur with Klingon, Romulan, and Klingon, and then the first Klingon draws us a card. I mean, this draw is just absolutely god awful. I mean, this is not how this goes usually. Just gonna tell you that right now. Well, anywho, we'll just put Law underneath the deck. And have the Dakur with not O'Brien and not Jonathan Archer. They would be on the ship, and then we would just have these 6 people attempt police treat route. We have a non-aligned or a Klingon, so we can attempt it. And then that's the whole thing. On turn 3, we're just attempting with what we got, and we would just push forward. And so basically how the deck is supposed to work is that we attempt police trade route. We push through, we eventually solve it for 40 points. And then we have the ability to go directly to Vulcan, no matter how the space line turns out. It just happened to turn out they're next to each other. But we can just go for range if necessary. We go to Observe Ritual. And let's just play out like a couple of more turns so that you can see. End of turn, we draw a card. This is another one of those. Good lord. So depending on what we hit, we have many options here. We've got medicals, we've got officers, we've got engineers with science, we've got officers with engineer, and all kinds of nonsense here. Security. So, we have many options for pushing through whatever would be there. So it doesn't really matter. So let's just say that we play our first Dominion person for free, and then we play our first Herodian person as a card play. And then we draw at the end of turn. Let's free play. Let's just do it this way now. So now we would free play Sulak. We can free play. Let's free play Jane Hajar. And then we would card play Tim Waters. For no other reason than we want to. We can send this to the bottom of the deck to send these people to the future and be able to solve as necessary. One thing we would have available to us is we could fly the Dakur. Now we can't. Doesn't have the range. If we wanted to go get our Valiant. But we would be able to just do that directly to the Dakur, and then we would solve most likely. And then we could just fly directly here to Observe Ritual. And then we download Romulan reunification onto the mission. So that's 15 points here. So we're at 55. And then let's assume, and then how it's going to work here at the planet is we would just push through. But what we do is we use our Wisdom of Surrak, and we can download Seek Hidden Reliquary onto this Vulcan with Archaeology, or just he's Archaeology, but there's a point to this. We would download the Kirshara underneath, and then as long as we don't have a Vulcan in the away team, we're not going to solve. So our 2 Vulcans would just stay behind. We could leave a transporter skill and a command star behind as well if we wanted to protect against things, but we're not really too worried about that. But the idea being that we would attempt Observe Ritual, we would push through all the dilemmas, and then when we're ready to solve, then we bring in a Vulcan, and we would solve the mission with the Kirshara. And based on the timing rules, you get to decide, like when you're solving a mission, there's a bunch of triggers. So we would first acquire the Kirshara, put it into play, then that instantly boosts the mission to 40 points. So then we would score the points. So then we score it for 40. So we had 40, 45, 55, 95, and then be able to just download any Vulcan honor personnel to score additional points with Seek Hidden Reliquary, because when you're away team including a Vulcan affiliation personnel here, or is the Kirshara here, you may download a Vulcan honor. So you can do this 2 ways. We would, if we need to score another mission for whatever reason, say we got point drained a bunch or something, our Vulcan personnel that we could download with honor could very easily be, I thought she had honor. She does not have honor. Vulcan. I thought one of these guys had honor. Oh, I bet it's the guy I have in play already. Yeah, it's this idiot. I should not have played him, but it doesn't matter. We are assuming that this is for the win, or we don't even bother doing it probably anyway. If it's, we have the ability to score 12 points off of Surrak, because he downloads 2 there. Or he just downloads. It doesn't matter. All your cards work with each other, so it doesn't matter where we download him to. He's not 22nd century, but again, and he's not youth, so youth can't report there. But he just downloads anywhere he could report, and he can always report to our outpost over here. So that's the other reason why we have the outpost. And of course, we're not downloading any personnel. Basically, after we download Archer and we download Orion, and maybe we're downloading these other people the civilians to hand. There's not another person that gets downloaded into play with this deck. And so yeah, you have the ability to just bust through and solve and download Surrak and score 12. And so we actually had 7 points. We had 107 points. We do also have 5 points from final mission report that we can do as well. So we can get to 112, which means you can suffer, like a 2-point higher the fewer and a 10-point Edo probe or something like that. You just have to make sure you have everything. And that's basically the deck. Typically, though, we end up drawing Starship Enterprise or the Nevar as another ship, and we wouldn't have to bounce. We do have Wall of Ships that we can just straight up download the Enterprise as well. And we did have the USS Enterprise, and of course it can just play. It plays to the outpost over here, and then would download the Enterprise to there. Or it downloads Wall of Ships. Sorry, it downloads Wall of Ships, and then Wall of Ships downloads an Enterprise. So when we did our STP drop, if it wasn't for the fact that we were not drawing any AU personnel, we probably would have just done that. We just would have played the Enterprise, download Wall of Ships, download Starship Enterprise, download Starship Enterprise, and then bounce it to hand, and then STP dropped it to make sure we have just another ship in play. And then, of course, the Enterprise then is the only other thing I think that downloads a personnel, and we typically just do that on our opponent's turn early in the game, and that gives that we have several options. We've got the Kirkster for all of his points, but then we have Yeoman Rand to get the copy of Final Mission Report, and she's probably actually your preference just for that reason. But yeah, I'm going to back up a second here and talk about something really quick. Rescue personnel. Plays on your ship docked at a facility in the Alpha Quadrant. This time location is in the Alpha Quadrant. It's not on the Alpha Quadrant spaceline. It is Alpha Quadrant. You target your away team on a planet which is either in a different quadrant or at a time location. Those are two separate thoughts. They don't have to be an away team on a planet in a different quadrant or a time location in a different quadrant. You target an away team that's either on a planet in a different quadrant or just at a time location. And it doesn't have to be a different time location. It's a different quadrant or at a time location. So you can be at the time location and then just beam the people up, and then you just redock. So you just beam them up. If ship travels there, and so it's the travels there that is like kind of a question mark. Travels there is not defined in the rule book that I could find in any way, shape, or form. It's just kind of a common sense understanding of like, well, you have to get there. Well, just by undocking, you've quote unquote traveled there because, yeah, I mean, and if worst comes to worst, you would always also technically travel there would be, I would think that relocating via, going from the time location to the spaceline and back would also be travel. Because the fact is, though, is that I don't think travel is defined. I remember looking. There's time travel. But given that the fact that the card itself says, is, away team on a different planet, so time travel doesn't, it's the only word that uses the word travel. So it just kind of falls to, a common sense understanding, if you ask me. And so my opinion is that I would rule this that as long as the ship does any movement of any kind, it has traveled there. And so, yeah, when the moment you undock from the Tellarite trading post, you can say the ship has traveled. Now I'm going to beam them up, and then I just redock, and then returns to facility. So you just redock, you draw one card for each personnel, and then you score points. Just my personal opinion. So, if you want a more definitive ruling, go pester James Heaney. But that's my take on it. Hope you enjoyed the deck. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Please comment in the video what you think about the deck, what you think about the Paternal Instinct mechanic with combining all the youth's personnel from across all the affiliations. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, like I said. May the profits be with you.